Welcome to another Woman of the Week. I'm Jackie Rives, your community leader for the Women of the Channel Leadership Network. Please welcome today Kristina Austin, Senior Director, Global Partner Ecosystems and Partner Program Marketing with Dell Technologies. Hi, Kristina. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to talk to you today, and I'm so excited about our conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited to get to know you. So let's start off with those icebreakers. Where do you live and where did you grow up if that's different?
Yes, good question. I live outside of Boston today. And in fact, I grew up in Boston, although I did spend several years in Maine and New Mexico. My mother immigrated from Germany, so I also lived and studied in Germany for a while. So although I have gone to other places, I have returned to Boston and my home state of Massachusetts. I love the history, the culture, everything about New England. So it was a great, easy return back, although it took a little while for me to make my way back.
Oh, I love that. My daughter was born in Germany, so very cool.
Really,
I love that. That's very neat. All right.
Germany,
Mhm.
it's a great place to live, and I can't wait to hear more when I talk to
Yeah,
you
we'll
next.
have to talk about that. All
Yeah.
right. So, what is a little known fact about you that you're willing to share with, about 6,000 of my friends here?
Well, let's see. I alluded to it a moment ago, but a lot of people know that I love speaking different languages and that I'm fluent in German. People know that I love triathlon, so we'll get back to those topics. But I don't know. Lesser known fact is that I play the cello. Um, I just have a love for music, and my whole extended family plays music. And when I was growing up, I played the cello, and that early classical music training just gave me a love of all music. I can listen to Eminem and Jay-Z in concert, best concert ever in New York, to opera, to jazz, to bluegrass. I just love music, and so playing the cello is something that not everybody knows about me.
I love these interviews. Like everything that comes out of your mouth is like another what? What? Wow, this is awesome. All right. What
Yes.
is the most important risk you took and why?
That's a good one. I think I'll go to the career risk at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
In my 20s, I made a career change from public sector to private sector and business. At the time, I was working for government, and I was involved in a lot of local community-based organizations and working on business development programs. So I was in a really different career in my early to mid 20s. And what I discovered is that a lot of community based organizations needed business skills. And so I was doing a lot of business skill training in communities, working with the state. And I just saw the opportunity for supporting public private partnerships. And that led me to business school. So that was my early 20s to mid 20s. And I just took a big chance, made a career change. I went to Babson for my MBA, and Babson was a great place to land because they are focused on entrepreneurship and
Mm.
innovation. And so it was a really great landing place for me because they also value the intersection of public, private, nonprofit sectors. And at the time, the dot com boom was happening. And so I landed in tech. The timing was perfect. I landed in tech. And when I thought about partnerships and what I really love about business and working, um, partnerships like public private partnerships
Hmm.
translated really nicely to working in global partner marketing, business development, partnerships, alliances. And that's how I landed in the channel. So it was a really great outcome. And even though it was a different sector, it translated really nicely
Oh, I
to
love that.
today. Yeah. Same sort
Yeah.
of skills, the same sort of thinking. And it was a great risk, but I had fantastic mentors really early in my career, and they took a chance on me, and it was the right time and place given what was going on in the market.
I
So
love that. I love that you pointed out like just how everything can blend so nicely. And, things don't have to be like a straight shot. And these different experiences give you so much leading
Yeah.
into like where you're going to land.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think at the time, and what I've been thinking about and doing for so long is just thinking about partnerships. Like, what makes a
Mm,
partnership work? How do you find the secret sauce of taking a partnership, growing it, developing it, and then just seeing that exponential return from a big partner ecosystem? So when I think about the future now, I think about new and emerging partner ecosystems. I think about at the time that was .com when I entered technology. Now it's all about AI and transformation. And Cheryl Cook, who I work for today, just says, the change is more rapid than we've ever seen. And I really
mhm.
think about AI and what's coming. Partner ecosystems, AI are really important, but
Yeah.
so are topics like ESG and sustainability. So I'm really excited about where things are going and seeing the next evolution of innovation in what we're
Yeah.
doing.
No, I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah.
Um, let's pivot to how you define successful leadership.
Ah, I love the topic of leadership. I've had
Hmm.
the benefit of working for so many great people. Um, and a lot of women, actually. I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later if we get to those questions. But I think about leadership as imagining the art of the possible. What's possible? How do we get there? How do we move our team and mobilize our team to get to that destination? So for me, building teams, developing people, thinking about the strategy, the vision, then mobilizing the team is like really energizing for me. I love having a high performing team of people that works for me, but also I love learning from other high performing teams and think about what we can do together. Um, for many years, I worked for a global team, a global sales leader who I loved supporting. I learned a lot from him. He built this fantastic culture that was based on sort of empowerment, autonomy, recognition, but he did a couple things that I really learned from. He would send these notes from the road. Um, and he talked about the vision and the direction, but he also talked about why we were doing certain things, what he was seeing. He would recognize people really informally as he was traveling around the world. He would send it to 400 or 500 people, but at the core of it was his commitment to the people, the team, communicating, recognizing people, being inclusive and authentic. And
Hmm.
for me, that he really embodied like the best of leadership right there. And so I hope to emulate some of those qualities, and that's what I look for in a leader. That's hopefully the way I lead my team. So those are just a couple
I
of, yeah.
such a that you made such great points and such a great answer. And I personally like love that, like that you're saying like these are the things that I found that I love, and you're hoping
Mm,
that that's what you're embodying. And I'm sure you are,
yeah,
because we have a tendency to kind of take the people that we learn from and then kind of create the mold of what makes resonates with us.
yeah.
So yeah, I love that.
Well, one of the things that I thought, that he did really well, there was this concept of, extreme ownership, which is all about
Mm,
you take full responsibility. At the end of the day, it's you take full ownership for your decision, the decision you made on behalf of the team. You're all in the boat together. And I used to row crew, so I love the boat analogy. But you're all getting in the boat. You're all rowing in the same
yeah,
direction. And he was always the first one to show up, participate, and get
that's
everyone
awesome.
in the boat. So I love that,
That's
and I think
awesome.
that's a really inclusive approach as well. So
I couldn't agree more. All
yeah.
right, well, let's pivot because I really want to hear about your maybe some of your experiences or transformational moments in your life.
Yeah. I'll share a story, something that I didn't used to share as often in my working life, but
Hmm.
a few years after my son Lucas was born, we realized that he was developing differently. He was thinking differently, and he was diagnosed with autism at age 3. Um,
Mm.
And so raising a son who's autistic, who's neurodiverse, has really changed the trajectory of my life as a person, as a mother, you know, what I do in my community, how I show up at work, really just my whole outlook on life changed after that point. It really gives you a sense of perspective, both in
Yeah.
terms of what's important, your life goals, how do you reframe and reset given this information? And I have always seen it as you just dig deep and you figure out how to prioritize. I've never seen it as anything other than an opportunity to just get better, like help him get better, help me learn. How do you just, you just pace yourself differently. We were talking at the beginning about perspective taking. And when you go through those hardships and you have to reframe your life, you decide, okay, you dig deep and you find a different kind of strength than you knew you had.
Yeah.
So it really gives me a different appreciation for just thinking differently. It makes me appreciate people that think differently in the workplace, but also people that are neurodiverse have, there's like 80% unemployment. And so it really has spurred me on to thinking about, like, how do you create an inclusive workforce? How do you find opportunities? And that's a really personal thing, but it's also something I didn't talk about that much early in my career. I tried to sort of keep work and personal separate, but I think one of the things we were talking about earlier is that you learn from others when you start sharing more of your authentic self. And it's
Yes.
really about who you are as a person really comes through when you share, if you feel like it, some of those personal moments. And, I think
You're
it's just,
also creating a
yeah,
safe space for others, right?
yes,
By
yeah,
sharing
absolutely.
yours. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At Dell Technologies World a couple of years ago, there was a keynote speaker who was an athlete. He was in a wheelchair. He's paraplegic, and
Hmm.
through a lot of hard work, he ended up becoming an Olympic rower, an athlete, a triathlete, Ironman. So I related to him in that respect. But I came back from that keynote speak and said, you know what? Anything is possible for my son. He can't swim a lap, he can't ride a bike, but I believe he can do all of those things, and anything is possible. So let's try. And within a couple of years, he was able to swim, bike, run. He did a triathlon, and um, and then since then we've started a gym for special needs neurodiverse athletes. And so there's something,
I love that.
that moment of keynote speaker kind of led me to think differently about what's possible. Anything's possible.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
All right. I have two questions left and we're running tight.
Okay.
So, and
Go
I
for it.
want to get to them if possible. So, who are some individuals who inspired your journey?
I talked a little bit about the leader that I admire, and
Yes.
there's a lot of those leadership elements that I think resonate, all the mentors and leaders I've had. But I love Mel Robbins. I don't know if others here listen to Mel Robbins podcast, but um, I am inspired by her. She's one of she speaks about leadership, about developing herself. She has one of the top rated podcasts. If you haven't heard of her, maybe you can listen to her. She has one of the top rated podcasts. But when I met her in the green room of a Women in Action ERG event a couple of years ago, she said, I'm about to get a TV show in New York and I'm going to go, it's been my dream. But then COVID hit. She had to pivot. She
Oh,
had to reinvent herself. She couldn't go and deliver keynotes around the world. So her speaking business, dried up. And now, 3, 4 years later, she is doing what she told me in the green room she was going to do. She has a group of women running her business, and now she's doing a podcast. And she pivoted, but she adapted. And I'm just really inspired by her. I
that
don't
is
know her
inspiring.
personally, but I love her. I love listening to her. Um,
That's
yeah.
awesome. All right, we have just under a minute. So, always my favorite question, what do you do to protect and create that work-life balance?
I love to exercise. So I love doing triathlons. So I love the diversity of sports. So that it's three sports. So you don't have to get excellent in any one of the three, but you just work on different sports. And so you sort of work different muscles. It's an endurance sport and it just gets you out of your head. So I love
Mm-hmm.
exercise, anything that's to do swim, bike, run, um, preferably with my family if I can do it. And I just love the community that it creates. So that's one of the best ways for me to create that work-life balance in addition to just, family, travel, doing all the fun things in life. But I love
I
exercise.
love
Gets me out
that.
of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. It helps your mind too, for at least it does for me. Um,
Yeah.
Love that. All right. I could talk to you all day long. It's
Love
been
that.
so great having you here today, Kristina. Thank you so much for allowing us to celebrate you as our Woman of the Week.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I am so impressed with everything that the channel company is doing. And I just love that you're investing in women and having these conversations with all of us. So thank you so much. I love the conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right,
Thanks for
community.
coming.
This was your Woman of the Week. Please, let's continue the conversation and comment below. Share your tips, share your inspirations. We're here for it and we're just growing and learning together. So, with that, happy Wednesday.